Marco Benedetti initially showed me a few cards from the Bordoni original he owns, I took a great liking to it immediately. And I knew I wanted a copy that would look as close as possible to how Marco's late 19th century original looked. Hello everybody, Masha here, and how excited I am about this one, about filming this video and about sharing with you a reproduction, a very beautiful reproduction of a historic tarot deck of the Milanese origin. So yesterday my parcel from Marco Benedetti arrived in Brisbane all the way from Rome via Milan, Cologne, Louisiana, Honolulu and Sydney. So yes, I have been tracking this package every step of the way. And as some of you would have seen, because it arrived yesterday, you may have seen the photos I shared of these 3 decks in the wrappers, either here on YouTube in the community post section or on Instagram. So my magic parcel from Marco Benedetti contains 3 tarot decks, and this one is the one that we will be having a look at. So this is the Bordoni, but you would have seen it already from the title of this video. And my Bordoni came wrapped in this A4 sheet of paper with the samples of the Spanish Alouette cards, the newest card deck that Marco is working on. If you look at these 2 images, you may remember having seen them in the video I made on Eliphas Levi Tarot, which I trust is available now in its 4th edition from Marco, an absolute masterpiece by Marco Benedetti. But look, today's feature is about the magnificent Bordoni Tarot. So let us now get a closer look at the cards that are housed in this handcrafted box. So here are these 2 parts of the telescopic box, handmade by Marco Benedetti, whose name we see on the top part of the box, along with the title of this tarot and its dating: Tarocco, Milanese, Fabbrica di Bordoni. So made by, on the factory of Bordoni, made by Bordoni, and it dates not just year of 1885, but also we are here with Luglio, the month of July 1885. Now we are in July. July is Marco Benedetti's birth month, and Marco is on vacation now, so happy belated birthday, Marco, whenever you're watching this. And July is also my birth month, so this tarot is how many years now? 96 years older than me, making its original that Marco owns 140 years old then. And this edition, as we can see, Edizione con bordi rivoltinati, this edition of 2025, of course, Roma, where Marco is based, comes with the Rivoltini borders. And Rivoltini borders, as quite a number of Marco's decks are the hand-folded borders when Marco uses a larger back sheet with the special measurements allocated to fold over and glue onto the fronts of the cards, forming the borders. And also, of course, you can see here the lines of that paper flipped over, turned over from the back of the cards. And it's very fitting that I'm using El Bagatelle as an example, a dexterous person, dexterous character in our tarot decks, as Marco does those borders and all of the cards, all with his own adept hands. And this Rivaltini method, of course, was the traditional method of card making, extending through the centuries in Italy, making cards stronger, and with that stronger, thicker, of course, and more durable. But while we're talking about the specs of the cards, let's talk about their smaller size. I've got my little ruler here. So the cards measure 5.5 centimeters, matrix here, by 10, around 10.7 centimeters in their height. But of course, being of the Milanese style, one of the characteristics, one of the feature of these cards, that they are narrow, especially if compared with size of a mass market or indie but contemporary tarots, which generally measure 12 centimeters in height and around 7 or something like that in width. So substantially smaller, as you can see here for yourself, but I will include the measurements for you below in the description of this video. The corners, of course, are sharp in this tarot as per tradition, and Marco's decks are made with deep respect to tradition. And the paper, yeah, let's chat about the paper. The paper used for the Bordoni is unlike any other types of paper Marco uses in his decks. I did open this tarot yesterday and I've just been so mesmerized. It really kind of feels magical, and you can see as I bring the cards closer, I hope you can see that this paper very much well looks and certainly feels like fine silk to me, or at least definitely feels like very fine fabric. And with up close you can see the beautiful colors as well, and that same texture of the paper goes for both the backs and the fronts of the cards. But when it comes to the backs, we will return to the backs a little later in the video when we get to the Ace of Coins. So yeah, superb fabric like paper. I am filming on my phone, and I can even see it on my phone if I bring the cards to the lights a little bit more. But on the larger screen, this fine fiber, fine silk-like fiber, and the texture of that fiber, you can see this fine details of the texture. Oh, that's what it reminds me of, if I can describe what the cardstock or the paper is like, and I hope it's clearly visible in high definition when the video uploads when you're watching. It's really special, and I'm so happy here. Now, Marco offers his restoration of the Bordoni with the folded over borders in two versions, restored and unrestored. When Marco Benedetti initially showed me a few cards from the Bordoni original he owns, I took a great liking to it immediately. And I knew I wanted a copy that would look as close as possible to how Marco's late 19th century original looked. And of course I did tell Marco so, and I think I did it online as well when I interviewed him. And I'm so thrilled that Marco made this version of the Bordoni Tarot available. So this is the unrestored version where Marco kept the colors and the aged backgrounds as they turned out to be, with all the aging that the original of this tarot has undergone over the last 140 years. So pretty much facsimile with perhaps minimal changes, but I did want to have that aged and restored copy. Most of the people I know, though, who already have this tarot opted for the restored version. And the restored version has clean and white backgrounds, or whiter at least, that Marco adjusted. Marco adjusted also the colors in the restored version to imitate what the colors would have looked like if the deck was printed today. So my friend Marilyn from Tarot Clarity, she made a video on the subject, and I will link Marilyn's video below for you. And Marilyn has the restored version, so even in comparison to mine, you immediately see the difference in the backgrounds. But I will show you a little bit more. So this is the photo I borrowed from Marco's page. Probably remove things here. So where he shared both, and I will include, of course, Marco's page for you in the description of the video, because that's how you purchase his decks, by contacting him via Facebook or email, which I will also include. So you can see the difference, right? So it's pretty much the restored version. I would assume it would be, the background would be just slightly off-white, like the color of the box. And the cards, of course, Marco restored as well the colors. The salmon pinks, they become a little bit more kind of orangey. I do prefer the unrestored, but it's up to us, right? It's all based on individual taste. And this is a close-up photo that Cheryl Smith took of some of her favorite cards in the deck. Again, the restored version. I have so much respect for the work that Cheryl has done, Cheryl Smith, and her contribution that she has made through the incredible blog that she runs, which is dedicated to tarot history. I have learned a lot from Cheryl's research, and yeah, when it comes to these cards with iPad screen and just too much light, it's just too hard to see. But I hope through my video and Marilyn's video and Marco's photos, you get an idea, again, very much based on personal taste. Now that I mentioned Cheryl Smith, even before having my own Bordoni in my hands, and my copy only arrived yesterday, as I mentioned, I already noted Cheryl pointing out how this bagato, holding a wand-like object opposed to a wine glass that we see in the example from the Soprafino Tarot, and also that we see in the decks of the early Piedmontese style. We have the cobbler, wine-loving cobbler, if you will, and we do see this pattern with the tarots of Milanese origin, which follow the Carlo della Rocca pattern, if we can call it that. I probably should take a second here. So even though originating from the region of Lombardy, which Milan is a capital of, these both Soprafino and Bordoni, the Milanese tailors that I have example of in front of us today, they follow early Piedmontese tarot style, which in turn was heavily influenced by a Tarot de Marseille pattern. well, with its unique details and changes, like we see in the example of cobbler replacing the street magician or juggler or trickster, whatever you call this trump. And not to forget the influence of Carlo della Rocca, the engraver of the Sopraffino Tarot, which of course can be seen as a pattern, right? Carlo della Rocca pattern of swords. And sopraffino, of course, means sopraffino, super fine. And Milanese tarots are famous for their beauty and refined stencil-colored lithography technique, as the Bordoni Tarot is made using with, of course, the Carlo della Rocca himself being very respected as an engraver of refining that technique of engraving on metals. So having said that, let's now get to the cards. You've seen enough of our very beautiful representation of the magician, Bagatelle, a cobbler here. Just look how detailed the gown of the papessa is. And how can you not like the salmon pinks and dark teals in my version, and such fine engravings too. The emperor and the empress, if placed sequentially, they are facing each other in this tarot, and their shields depict a cross, which I see as a reference to that red Milanese cross, which could be seen on the Milanese flag and coat of arms. The Pope has one dense beard, and there are 4 supplicants here. One of them is partially depicted in their profile. The lovers are titled Li Amanti, so not the lover as we see in Marseille Tarot, but the lovers. And the third person here seems to be the person of authority given the crown. Il Carro, Chariot. The downward facing Justice, just stunning. The Hermit is also looking downward with a smaller sized lantern that he is carrying. And what a great amount of abundance we witness in the Wheel of Fortune card, with the Fortuna herself at its very top and a flame as we see in a number of Italian decks. La Forza, the Fortitude. La Pesso, the Hanged One. La Morte, Death. The Death card is both named and numbered. Clearly they didn't have enough space to write the whole title for the Temperance card. But look at the lovely detail of the tulip resembling flower, and either quite pointy hills or pyramids, but I think hills there in the background. But isn't it just delicious, this tarot? The colors, Marco's craftsmanship, everything about this tarot. The devil is hairy, and it's the pattern that we see in Swiss tarot quite a lot. The very unique Tower card, which I like a lot. The sun here is sending the ignition towards the crowned tower. The heat of the flames and burning and that explosiveness are depicted so well in this version of the Tarot Tower. He's on the star card, absolutely stunning in the Bordoni. The title, though, La Stella, is plural, the stars. Well, there are 7 stars in the sky. And what is better than one bird? 2 birds in the star card. Let's look at the elaborate engraving. And we have 2 more celestial cards, both facing straight ahead, and are just a delight, an absolute delight to look at. Judgment, the World. In the World card, just have a look how detailed are the engravings, or how detailed the engraving is for this card. And the angel, eagle, the lion, and the bull are all accounted for. Il matto. The Fool here is depicted with a feather in his hair and is full of a charm. And with that, we have now reached the minor arcana, beginning with the suit of coins. So, Ace of Coins, on which we read Fabbrica di Bordoni, so the factory of Bordoni. I trust Fabbrica, Russian factory is Fabbrica, so clearly comes from Italian or Latin, Milano. And then in the very center, I'll just bring this card a little bit closer, we see here a coin with the Mercury depicted on it in profile, and it's a monarchic coin, saying centesimi 50, right? 50 centesimi 50-cent coin, and above it there is a taxation stamp, and from the taxation stamp we can deduct the reference to the year 1885, and LG clearly, well, to me it's very clear to see LG, which I would attribute to Luglio, July 1885. Now, with the ace, I did promise to return to the backs of the cards. Here we also see another connection, because when it comes to De La Rocca, when it comes to the famous and very loved deserminglys of Sopraffino Tarot, De La Rocca, Carlo De La Rocca, the engraver, was actually commissioned for the project of the Sopraffino Tarot by Ferdinand Gampenberg, who owned the company, Ferdinand Gampenberg Company, known for printing superfine cards. And here in the backs of the Bordoni, we do see FG initials referring to, or that would be my educated guess, to Ferdinand Gampenberg. So I have actually read in one of the articles, older articles though, in the International Playing Card Society journal, that the Bordoni company at some point took over a part of the production of both Gampenberg and Lamperti towards the end of the 19th century. I don't have a Lamperti deck, but one of my friends does have a Milanese tarot by Lamperti, and it's very charming, it's very beautiful. So let's have a look at the other peeps a little bit quicker. So here we are with the suit of coins. these cards, they just make me so happy. And I did want to jump on this video today so I can actually shuffle them and I don't have to put them back together in order for this video. So with the pages, our pages here, and it's a abbreviated word, I guess half of the word referring to it, the fun here, di danari of coins, of course we know, but fun stands for fantino, which means jockey in its translation from Italian, or jack, just refers to the jack, like, you know, in playing cards, jacks of each suit. And the Bordoni, of course, page is our English alternative for the cards. Cavalier, the knight. Cavallo is a male horse in Italian. But look at all the extra details and plants and just beautiful, charming engravings. Queen and King of Coins. Moving to the suit of cups. Beautifully embellished chalice as the ace. Two, rather having two fishes, we hear two kind of a big cats, lion-like heads here, but it's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful cards. Like, for me, Two of Cups is all about love, and this card to me just shows it very nicely with its bright colors. Fabbrica di Milano again. Yeah, I am super stoked about this tarot, and these cards and the unrestored version with all the blemishes and aging. It does have a very cozy and warm feel. The cards have that warm and cozy feel to them. Well, 140 years of aging would do that. Absolutely beautiful. Fantino, another page rocking their pinks. Love it. Detail the spur, the flowers. And of course, one of my favorite details, charming details in this tarot is showcased in the Queen of Cups. I love the addition of the two windows behind her, and Queen of Cups is my significator. I do love her adorned outfit and the colors of it. A very gentle and friendly King of Cups. We are in the suit of batons now. But my goodness, the colors. The Bordoni Tarot, the Bordoni cards are just, when it comes to the color, they're just so lovely and lively at the same time. Lively and warm, both when it comes to the characters that we meet through the cards. Another Fantino here, and the colors and that love and craftsmanship that went into the cards from Marco Benedetti. The sweet quartz with their friendlier faces. And now we are with the last suit, the suit of swords. The swords are, of course, curved, and decorations that we see in these cards is more floral and leafy patterns following the Marseille tarot pattern and influence. Less white space between the swords, so they seem to be a bit more dense, but with these colors, this density looks just so right to me. And even the court cards, page, Knight of Swords, the Queen and the King with mustache on his decorated throne, even the sword chords are very friendly. And just listen to the delightful sound these cards make. I really don't want to refill them, but I'll just do maybe one corner refill with you, because I know Marco will probably tell me that I should have done a refill, even though I know Marco is not impressed with my refilling abilities. I can only do the corners, but with this tarot though, I'll just do one refill, right? But otherwise I think I will be doing over hand shuffling and just doing more like a washing method that I've been playing with, spreading cards on the table and then just with my left hand intuitively choosing the cards for my reading, or just kind of spreading them in a line and then selecting cards for my smaller readings. 3 card, 7 card readings, 7 maximum, using those methods. Look like the cards want to stop here, so let's just lay a few cards for us, just to see how they work in relationship with each other, next to each other. They are beautiful, delightful. 2 of Cups, very happy with 2 of Cups ending our sequence here. Very nice indeed. Just in case you can't tell, I am absolutely thrilled with this newest offering from Marco Benedetti in the Bordoni Tarot of the Milanese origin. Marco's outstanding craftsmanship shines again in this tarot, and I do feel with every deck Marco's skills, they just get refined and refined and beyond. I also mentioned, well, in the video, that I'm very pleased with the unrestored version of it, but the restored version is the other option for this tarot available. Marco's contact details are below for you as well. Keep in mind that until the end of July, Marco is away on his vacation, and he will be back, I trust, in the beginning of August if you decide to place your order for this or other decks from him. On that note, the prettiest tarot. Can the Bordoni be the prettiest tarot, Italian tarot that ever existed? Or could this reproduction be the prettiest reproduction of the tarot that we've ever had access to? It certainly is a delight and an eye candy. But do let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear about your first impressions as you were looking at the cards, or your further impressions if you already have this tarot, as I know quite a few of my friends do have the restored version of it. And also do share whether you agree if this tarot is the prettiest or one of the prettiest. And as always, I would like to hear more about the observations you make on the cards as you were watching my video, or video of others like Marilyn's video, or whether you made observations from your own copy of this tarot. I'm so very grateful for your time and for spending a part of your day with me. I hope you enjoyed my review of the newest Milanese tarot by Marco Benedetti. I'm sending much love to you, and I hope to catch you in my next video. Ciao!